Walking through the gardens this morning, I noticed one of my favorite crab apples right behind me now, laying on the ground. And it gave me reason to think about where and how and what types of trees we should plant in our garden. And especially the important part was, where do we put trees in the garden? There are certain trees that if they're damaged by a lawnmower or a weed whacker or any other type of equipment, these trees have great difficulty in surviving this. They may not die the first year, but within 5 to 10 years, they may actually die, as this one did, and fall down. If you look closely at the base of this tree, you're going to see a lot of scarring and a lot of peeled off bark. You can see here where we pruned this crabapple probably about 6 years ago, where the new growth is starting to heal over the wound that we created on this tree. But if you look closer toward the ground level and toward the roots, you'll see that when this bark was peeled off of this initial area, very little regrowth occurred. Not only that, this tree had been damaged probably 3 or 4 times since then with a riding mower, and it pretty much ripped off the bark. Eventually, this tree was damaged to the point where all of the dead wood was too much to support the tree that we had here in our lawn. And I have to say, probably one of the leading reasons dogwood trees die is they're planted in the middle of our yard. And eventually, either you yourself, your family member, or someone you've hired to, mow your lawn is going to nick or rip off the side of the bark. And many trees, like dogwoods, don't have the ability of repairing that damage between the roots and the trunk of the tree. So you really want to incorporate them in a garden. And I'll show you some other damage, and I'll actually show you where we've incorporated dogwoods in the flower bed, mulched, where there's no way equipment can hit it. But this, as you see here, has finally destroyed this 30-year-old tree. This crabapple experienced damage by a lawnmower in multiple places. One of the things that I've learned is that the damage occurs at ground level or very close to ground level. Trees, or many trees, have an inability to heal. And if we look at this tree closely, I can show you some of the areas that this tree was damaged. And maybe 5, 10 years down the road, this tree may blow over in a windstorm or an ice storm or in a snowstorm. This bark has been knocked off this crabapple, and it's going to have a hard time healing over. The key to success in planting trees, especially dogwoods and maybe your maples, is just don't plant them and stick them out in the middle of the lawn. Plant them in a garden or create a garden around the trees where there's no way they can get damaged by a weed whacker or a lawnmower. And you can look how pretty this dogwood here is right in the front flower bed. I don't have to worry about someone peeling off the bark. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.